Hello?
Hello, Edie?
Hello? Yes, hi.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Good. This is Adam. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. I'm good, thanks.
Good. Well, thanks for agreeing to all this and participating on this. And
Sure.
I know you must...
All good. I will tell you that I'm out and about walking the streets of New York City, so hopefully you can hear me okay.
Yeah, I can. Actually, it's a pretty good connection.
Good.
Yeah. What intersection are you on? I'm just kidding around. We could have done this on a walk because, I'm not in Manhattan right now, but I'll be heading in shortly, right after we finish.
I lost what you just said. I'm so sorry.
I said I'm not in Manhattan at the moment, but I will be shortly. We could have just walked around and done this.
Well, that's okay.
A lot of
all good.
All right. Well, first of all, I just want to mention I met you briefly in Austin this spring. We were at the Lynn Shelton's party, and
wow.
And I was sitting. I kind of for maybe a couple of minutes. I was just chatting with you, and I made a comment along the lines of "Good luck with your acting career." So maybe you remember that. I don't know. You laughed.
I do a little bit.
That's good enough. No, don't be sorry. And on the show, by the way, this podcast I do, I've had on, in addition to Hal a bunch of times, I've also had on Abel and John Sayles and Eric. Well, I haven't had on Eric Mendohlson, but I've been courting him for a long time.
Oh, wow.
So, maybe you can put in a good word, because I think, he's just a little shy about it. I don't know.
I don't know. You know what he is? He's busy.
There's that.
He teaches directing at Columbia, and it's it's huge.
Yeah.
His classes are big, and they're hard to get into, and it takes all his time right now.
Well, isn't he? He's like one of the most talented writers, I think.
I totally hear you. I agree.
Yeah. So normally I have like kind of a freewheeling type of approach to the podcast, the conversations I do. But what I thought would be fun to do is to ask these questions to some of your fellow colleagues from Hal's films that you were in, active. Right. So he's kind of put me together with a few of you guys, and I thought I would splice together people answering. Got it? So there's really nothing, just respond however you want, and I'll ask the questions. Very straightforward. And if afterwards there's something you said or whatever, you have any regret about it, or what have you, any second feelings about it, just let me know, because I'll edit it out. All right.
Got it.
So just to start off, state your name and your relationship with Hal.
My name is Edie Falco. I went to college with Hal Hartley, and was the director of the first bunch of movies I did out of school.
Yeah.
There you go.
Do you remember the circumstances of meeting Hal? Do you remember what that was like?
The circumstances what?
When you met? Do you remember what those circumstances were?
I think we met in college, but
right at SUNY.
I don't recall those circumstances. God knows. I mean, most of us were drunk. Hello. But I do remember he, at some point, asked to have lunch with me, which seemed odd, and that is when he asked me if I would be in his movie. He was going to make this movie, and he wanted me to be in it. And I can't recall ever having been that excited. I'd never been sort of courted in that way. I never thought of it as the choice being mine. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, of course, I said yes. And that was that.
So you were both going to SUNY Purchase at the time.
That's right.
And he was making a...
this was after college. Well, you know what? No, we were both gone when I did Unbelievable Truth. We were both out of school.
Right. So you hadn't collaborated on any of the student films or anything like that yet?
I lost you on that.
You didn't collaborate with him on a student project?
No, not during school, no. I collaborated with Eric Mendohlson.
Oh, okay.
But no, not with him.
So all you guys, Eric, was at the same time? And did you all graduate at the same year, or?
No, Hal was ahead of us.
Okay.
He got out a year or two before us, I think.
Oh, okay. So you maybe, so he had graduated, you were still at SUNY, and then some time...
I'm pretty sure.
Okay,
yes,
of course.
And after I had graduated, he asked me to do, Unbelievable Truth.
I see. So some time had passed, but you guys got to know each other a little bit during the SUNY years?
At parties. I mean, that's as far as it went.
Okay. All right. But he obviously remembered you, right? That was...
That I remembered who he was?
No. He obviously remembered you from those days.
I guess so, yeah. Which
right?
I guess I sort of found kind of shocking at the time.
Were you in New York then, in those days?
Yes, living in New York.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so your first collaboration would have been The Unbelievable Truth, right?
That's right.
Okay. That was your first feature film?
No, I did a feature right outside of school, right after school, literally the day after I graduated. I'm trying to think if that was the only one. I think it was definitely one of the first ones.
Okay, all right. And what did you think of how? I mean, obviously, you didn't yet have a whole lot of experience to compare him to, right?
But not much at all.
Had he already had a sort of a strong idea of what he was trying to achieve, from a stylistic?
That's right.
Yeah, he did.
He definitely had enough confidence to gather his friends together. His family was very much involved in putting us up in Lindenhurst where we shot. He was a solid director in all senses of the word. Like, he gave me confidence that he knew what he was doing, he knew what he wanted, and he was going about making it happen. He never expressed it to me any sense of fear that it might not happen, or not quite sure what he wanted. I felt great confidence in what he was going for.
Huh. Yeah. But he had a very, I don't know, we'll use shorthand. He was kind of had a minimalist, ironic, I guess.
For sure.
And did you get that? Like what because you hadn't seen any Hal Hartley films, I assume. Maybe you saw his short, I don't know, but he didn't really.
No, I didn't know how many Hartley films there were before that. Mm-hmm. To have seen, but yeah, I mean, he was very clear what he wanted, and I don't remember seeing it as stylized or anything. I until I saw his movies, and then I was like, oh, Jesus, it has a feeling unlike other movies. He definitely had a point of view, but I was not directed in that way. From what I remember, my performance was then what it is now. I mean, just based on who the character is, and who is she related to, and what is she doing in the scene, that kind of thing. So I didn't feel like he was asking me anything too far outside of what I've always been asked.
Yeah, as a matter of fact,
your lines.
Yeah, because I'm actually thinking of your particular characters in those in both Unbelievable Truth and Trust. Thank you. And they were very, the girls were really Long Island, not particularly cerebral. Let's put it that way, right?
Yes.
But that much.
I'm not saying that she was like me.
No,
but
I know.
As far as his directing style.
Yeah.
He didn't want me to do anything that didn't feel natural to me. Mm-hmm. So.
But you kind of played tough chicks.
As far as performance was concerned.
Yeah. You kind of played... They were kind of like tough chicks, though. You know what I mean? They were... Yeah, they were. And they seemed...
Written that way, yes.
And they were kind of more confident in a way. Like, in who they were. They were outspoken, and they didn't apologize. Whereas, let's say,
That's right.
Right? Whereas,
That's right.
Yeah. Whereas, like, Adrian's characters were struggling, with...
That's right.
Yeah.
They were a little more unclear. She was a little more unclear about life than her, than either her sister or, was, yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, the story was Adrian's story,
Sure.
I was adding a color to it, I hope.
I guess. I mean, but you were, in the long run, having been part of this group of actors, you were definitely played a pretty central role in that what the early Hal Hartley films, especially.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. Do you have any? I'm trying to get. I guess maybe. Do you have any anecdotes that come to mind? I guess, or memories.
Do I have any
anecdotes or memories of that time? Whether it's
just about being ecstatic that he had included me.
Yeah.
Because it was all my friends. It was all people that I loved, and that to have, as you said earlier, a shorthand with both the actors and the crew and the set. They were all purchase people. Is one of the great luxuries on a set. So it wasn't necessarily about that stuff as it might be, in a film where you're just starting. I loved it. I was there with my friends. We were making a movie. We were doing what we went to school for. I just remember any place I sat, there was someone I knew and loved. It was great. I remember being tremendously exciting.
And did you have any kind of context, I guess, for the time, when these films were coming out, that it was part of a wave of any kind?
No, no, never. Never.
Did it sneak up on you?
I'm just not that person, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I don't tend to tune into that stuff, and I'm often have to get over the head, with it. Sometimes even years later, where people were saying, "Oh my God, I love Hal's movies," and I'm like, "Oh, I guess that's like a thing, Hal's movies." It's a genre unto itself, and it was the very early independent filmmaking. So,
yeah,
it just didn't occur to me that was a thing people were looking at. And I'm like, oh my God, I was in those. I mean, really pretty naive and all that stuff.
And I think the people that are fans of his films are all over they're in pockets all over the world. I think I think the people
Isn't that crazy? Yeah.
It seems like they're in Japan and Germany and France. He's got these pockets of fan bases around the world that he's nurtured and
that's right.
developed. And when you were going to SUNY Purchase and I assume majoring, or you were majoring in theater or in the acting class.
And as an actor at Purchase, you were learning. Mostly theater, and that's what we did there, but we had classes that we shared with the film students, and so they would use us. So some of us actually were getting a teeny bit of experience, acting for film. And this was, just everything you hoped it would be, that you get out of school and you get to actually use some of it.
Sure. Right. So in other words, what better place to cast your first projects but the acting program? Coming from the film school, and you are a director, and you're putting together your first project or first or second project.
Yeah.
What better way to cast your film than this parallel program that's going on down this hallway?
Yeah.
But
we're all speaking the same language. Yep.
Yeah. So was it always your intention to go into theater, or did you also?
I didn't have an intention.
Yes.
I have to tell you the truth. I knew I loved to act, and it still was beyond me that I was considering that as a career. I never really heard of.
What's that last part you said? Can you repeat that last part?
I said, it still was too weird to think of it even as a career. Because who the hell goes into the career of acting? It just was so bizarre to me. I did something you do, like, on the side or whatever. Go to your little community theater place or whatever. But I just knew that I loved to do it in all its forms and hoped that I would get that opportunity. So, that was my non-plan.
I'm just curious because you fell into it so it seems like so seamlessly, but were there a bunch of years?
That's not true.
Okay, correct me. I mean, were there a lot of were there years of
many years of
just struggle?
Yeah, of wondering what the hell I was doing. Like, boy, I should have made a backup plan. I waitressed for 20 years, and not that I ever stopped doing stuff. But this was not stuff that paid me. For the most part, it cost me money. Because
sure.
I got to give up shifts at the restaurant or whatever my job was at the time. But yeah, it was rough going, terribly rough going. I love the idea that it might not look that way from the outset, but from the outside, but yeah.
Where was the encouragement coming from?
Well, it was the only thing I really loved. What was that? I tried lots of different things, and for a while imagined doing something else for a living, but this was the only thing I really loved. And even when I was doing my crazy little plays at night, someplace or whatever, it was like getting a hit, of what I needed. So I had never planned on stopping. That was never the intent, but I just thought, I'm going to have to find a way to make money because this is not working out.
Were you getting any outside encouragement?
I don't know. All my friends were actors, had all gone to school together, and we were sharing our war stories, and there was comfort to be had in that. We all had these little careers, it fits and starts, but they were my lifeblood at the time, hanging out with them and getting together and talking about what the dragon was,
Yeah. Do you remember what the mood or the vibe? You already kind of said that you were ecstatic that you experienced this ongoing ecstasy because you were surrounded by these friends. It was a nurture. Sorry.
Yeah.
The Hal Hartley
said.
It
wasn't just that we were getting work and taking us away from our little home group. It's that we were all doing it together. What could be better than that?
That's true. Do you remember the critical or the public response to the films?
No. I don't. Yeah, I'm afraid I'm not great at remembering this stuff, but we did some festivals and stuff, right? Right? Didn't we?
Yes. I believe.
Yeah,
I believe.
That was, I didn't know if that was unusual. I just knew we had made this thing very inexpensively, and who the hell knows if people will see this thing, and the fact that people were actually talking about it and had screenings and stuff was huge. It was huge. As far as to the outside world, who knows,
Sure. But you've maintained, it's interesting, obviously you've done some pretty visible films and television, obviously 6 seasons on Nurse Jackie?
7, yeah.
7, excuse me. I watched all of them, by the way, so I should know.
Jesus.
I binged a lot of that stuff. I'm like, how much more is she going to have to go through? But anyway, I'm just wondering.
There you go.
Yeah.
Anyone who's had an addict in their life spends a lot of time asking that question.
Oh, okay, that's a fair response.
Yeah.
But you keep returning to independent films. So clearly, whether it's working with John Sayles on Sunshine State, going back to working with Eric, well, it shows also maybe a certain loyalty as well. 3 Backyards.
I would like to say I'm not selfless, but the reality is I just go where the good scripts are.
Well, that's what I'm getting to, though. Yeah. It just
happens to be that some of my dear friends are immensely talented. So of course, there's a gratitude for the fact that it came across my doorstep. And then I just wanted to do stuff that was interesting to me. That holds true to this day.
Yeah, but a lot of people still will take some. I don't know. I'm looking through all your work here, and there's very, very few exceptions where each thing has a lot of integrity. There's a lot of integrity in your work.
Not each of them.
Not every. I said.
Not if you look close. There have been times where there's stuff that I've done because I hadn't worked in a long time and needed to just be on a set. Or it was with a director I really wanted to work with, or an actor I really wanted to work with, even if the script was shitty. Mm-hmm. So at a certain point, you've got all the different variables, like who's the director, who are the actors, what's the script like, what's the money like. And as your life changes, like now I'm a mother with 2 kids and a home, and my needs change, and so my criteria for doing a project changes also. But never beyond the point where I wouldn't enjoy myself anymore. There's got to be at least a belief that I will at least enjoy myself for whatever reason. But yeah, there's some stuff in there that I am less than thrilled about having been involved in. But I knew exactly what my reasons were at the time, and I wouldn't change a second of it.
That's very honest.
Yeah, it is what it is. I would never name those things, but going in, I didn't always think, I'm doing this for the money. I'm thinking, this could be good because of this, or it could be good because of that. And in retrospect, I'm like, no, that sucked. The project ultimately was not something I was proud of, but that's what happens. If you're in this for a long time, that's going to happen.
I'll wind down. I'm going to respect your time and wind it down. What neighborhood? What neighborhood are you in, by the way?
Say it again.
What neighborhood are you in?
Oh, I'm in the West Village. I just got home.
Oh, you're in the West. Are you inside now?
I am inside now.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah, I've got a few minutes before I got to head out again. So
Oh, very good. We'll get off in a couple of minutes then, as we wind up.
Okay.
Obviously, this is around helping Hal and alerting fans, old and new, and maybe potential new fans, to this box set. And I don't know if you have any plug you want to make.
God, I'm bad.
You're suck at that. I'm putting you on the spot a lot.
But, I'll let the people who are good at it do that.
Okay, I guess that's my role in this case. But here's
I'll let
how.
you do it.
Okay, well, I love you so much as a actor and an artist, and I don't think I could possibly have done a good job at this today, honestly, because I've been doing this because I'm inspired by certain artists, whether they're directors or actors or cinematographers, what have you, and to sit down and talk to them is like very inspirational, and it's hard to do. It's hard to do under these circumstances where you're supposed to be talking about one particular thing and all that. So this isn't ideal for me, but I do want to express my gratitude anyway that we were able to get this done.
Well, my gratitude for Hal having called me when I was 21 or something, and said, I'm making a movie and I want you to be in it. That, is a piece of my DNA now. So this is, in the smallest way, to be able to give back. I am happy to do it.
Well, I'm sure he'll appreciate that. I saw you on Broadway with my then wife, Karen Pittman. And we saw you with Stanley Tucci, of course, in Frankie and Johnny at the Claire de Lune.
Oh, right, yeah.
And afterwards, she said,
years ago.
Sorry?
I said, yes, some years ago. But yes, indeed, I remember.
Feels very recent to me. But anyway, and you were, both so great. And then afterwards, we bought the Broadway Cares poster of the film. I'm sorry, of the play, excuse me.
Oh, my God, of the play.
Yeah. And she insisted. And this never happened, but she wants to. We're going to go back and we're going to get Edie Falco's autograph on this. So we went back. We got into the backstage where the stairs were, and you came down, and I just let her have the moment because I was very excited. Also, after seeing you on The Sopranos, blah blah blah. So she gets the autograph and everything. She still has it on her wall. So cut now forward another 10, something like 10 years. She was co-starred in Horace and Pete.
In who?
Horace and Pete. She played.
What part did she play?
She played Louis C.K.'s girlfriend, or maybe girlfriend, quote unquote. The African American actor.
What's her name?
Karen Pittman.
Karen
Pittman. Pittman, like Jane.
Karen Pittman.
Give
me a second, then. Let me just think. I'm sure I know who she is. I'll have to look because he had actually a bunch of girlfriends on that show. Karen Pittman. Anyway, I'll take a look. That's hysterical.
Well, the scene that they were known for was because after the next morning, after they slept together, they get into an argument, and she suggests that she may have transitioned.
Oh, amazing! Amazing,
and
absolutely amazing. Yes.
And nobody really knows. It's always when I talk to people about it, some people think that she was just putting them on. Other people think that that she was telling the truth. Her character, of course. Anyway, so, I mean, when she told me, though, that she went to a table reading, we've been divorced a while. We have a son together, but we had divorced. And she came back and she said she had done a table reading, or she had been to the reading with you and Alan Alda and Steve Buscemi and Louis and all. And I was like, wow, this girl she's come a long way. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. And she's phenomenal. She was really fantastic.
Anyway.
As a aside, but that's just business. Also, it is a crapshoot. You're in the right place at the right time. A lot of people have talent who do well. A lot of people have talent who don't do well, and vice versa. Untalented people are crowding our airwaves, and so anyway, the strangest things can happen. I think a big part of it is just longevity. You kind of got to stick with it. A lot of people want to do what we do.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway.
Well, I just wanted to also, the point of my bringing that up, other than the connection, was also just to show you that you give you more context to what you've inspired. I think people, other actors, because of that. And she was one of those case stories, case histories,
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's very, very kind of you to say. Because, there are those days where I wake up and I'm raising kids and thinking, what the hell are you doing now? What is this you do? And I have to reboot and remind myself that I legitimately do believe that what we do is hugely important. I just, you hear stories of other people and trying to get their lives going, even, on the Midwest, and it is a question I find myself faced with occasionally, but I do very much appreciate that, what you just said.
Good. I'll let you go. Did you vote yet today? I guess you did.
Of course. I voted weeks ago, yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
Me too.
Yeah, I am sick about this. I'm having friends over tonight. We're going to,
Yep.
pray together, something I've never done.
Yeah. You'll spend most of the evening on your knees and prostrate yourself. I know. I'm working tonight. I'm just trying to not focus on it, just...
Yeah.
Anyway. All right, Edie Falco.
Move forward. I hear you.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I'm wishing Hal the best and all that.
Thank you very much again.
Okay.
All right. Take care.
Of course.
All
Very
right.
welcome. Bye.
Bye-bye now.